A powerful design feature exclusive to movie clip symbols only is 9-slice scaling. 9-slice scaling allows us to cut up or divide up the graphics inside of a movie clip symbol and control how each of those slices scales. This is especially useful if we're trying to design flexible, reusable, and scalable navigation items such as buttons, tabs, and navigation bars. To get started, go ahead and open up the GearDepot3.fla starter file. With your selection tool active, go ahead and click on this green word balloon located in the lower left-hand corner of the stage. This is a basic design which uses a rounded rectangle and a small stem at the bottom to replicate a word balloon. Eventually, I'd like to convert this to a symbol so that I can duplicate more of these and fill out my navigation for my masthead. You'll actually see sitting below the stage I have 3 text fields. Each one is going to be a label for buttons I'm going to create later on in this lesson. When creating buttons or controls for our user to work with on the stage, we have a choice of converting them to either buttons or movie clip symbols. In this case, to explore and take advantage of 9-slice scaling, I'm going to convert this word balloon to a movie clip symbol. Go ahead and make sure the word balloon is selected, and go up to the Modify menu and choose Convert to Symbol. Let's assign this the name of Word Balloon. Leave the type set as Movie Clip and leave the registration set to the default. Go ahead and click OK. If we take a look at our properties over on the right, we'll see this is now a movie clip symbol. And what I'd actually like to do at this point is duplicate a couple of more of these so that I can fill out my navigation and place the labels shown at the bottom. A handy way that we can duplicate items on the stage rather than using a traditional copy and paste is known as cloning. To clone, hold down either the Option or the Alt key. Click and drag on the movie clip we already have and pull to the right. You'll see as we drag, it actually produces a copy which we can release directly to the right of the original. Again, hold down Option or Alt, and with that key down, click and drag and make another copy of this balloon and pull it over to the right. So we should have 3 going across from left to right. So again, this is a nice convenient alternative to copy and paste or dragging instances from the library. Now herein lies the problem. We have 3 buttons of the same size, but to maximize space, we may want to actually resize these to accommodate the size of the text underneath. For instance, accessories needs a good deal of room, but bags and laptops doesn't need as much. So we could actually scale down these 2 buttons to make a little bit more room for buttons that we may add on the right later on. For this, go ahead and leave the 3rd balloon selected as you see here, and let's go ahead and select the Free Transform tool from our Tools panel on the right. You'll actually see a bounding box with handles appear around your movie clip instance, and what we can do is grab the right side handle, click and drag, and let's size this down just a little bit, make it smaller to match the size of the bag's text underneath. Go ahead and switch back to your selection tool by selecting it from the top of the Tools panel. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit on the scaled movie clip instance that we have selected. For this, go ahead and grab your Zoom tool, and let's just click a couple of times over that just to zoom in just a little bit, to about 200%. Now what you're going to notice that's an unfortunate side effect of the scaling is that the nice rounded corners in the stem that our word balloon features have kind of gotten distorted. So we'll see the corners are not as round or not as clean as the original size one to the left, and we'll also see that the stem looks scaled and somewhat out of whack. Now obviously, as is, this doesn't leave us with a lot of choices. We can either recreate several movie clip symbols, sizing each one differently or creating the artwork differently to accommodate different sizes, or we can put into effect 9-slice scaling. 9-slice scaling allows us to control which portion of the artwork inside of a movie clip scales and what doesn't. This is especially useful for elements like our rounded corners in our stem, which should be uniform regardless of the width or even the height of this particular movie clip. To activate 9-slice scaling for a movie clip, let's go over and bring the library panel forward. Go ahead and select the word balloon movie clip so it's highlighted in the library panel. To show the options for this movie clip, at the bottom, go ahead and click the Properties button. It looks like the little info eye, and that opens up our Symbol Properties dialog box for our word balloon. Now you're going to notice in the lower right-hand corner there's a button marked Advanced. Go ahead and click this to expand the panel. This actually shows us all of the advanced options for this specific movie clip. One of the first things you'll notice is directly underneath we have a checkbox marked Enable Guides for 9-slice scaling. Go ahead and check off this box and click OK to exit the Symbol Properties dialog box. Now what you may notice is that your symbol has already changed. The corners seem to have readjusted themselves. To see how this is actually occurring, let's go ahead with our selection tool active and double-click on this specific word balloon instance. Now what you're going to notice is that in our symbols edit mode, there's actually a series of 2 horizontal and 2 vertical guides which cut up the artwork into 9 slices. The way these slices work is that the top left, top right, and bottom left corners, or any artwork within them, will actually not be scaled regardless of how big or small we make the symbol instance. The artwork which ends up in the top slice, left slice, right or bottom slices will only scale respective to its direction. For instance, the top and bottom will only scale horizontally, not vertically. The left and right slices will only scale vertically, not horizontally. Now what we're going to want to do is adjust these just a little bit to accommodate our artwork. Again, what you may want to do is go ahead and zoom in on this. We can do this either from the top right corner by selecting the zoom settings, or you can use your zoom tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to reposition these guides so that each of our rounded corners and the stem end up in the corner slices that end up being created. The sides of our box end up in the respective top, left, right, and bottom slices, and the center ends up in the middle. Go ahead and move your selection tool over the right guide. Click and drag so it sits directly to the left of where the corner begins to form on the right side of the balloon. Grab the first horizontal guide, click and drag that up so it sits right below where the corner forms on the right and left corners. With the bottom horizontal guide, click and drag, and again do the same thing. Reposition it so it sits right above where the corners begin to form on both the left and right sides. Now the left-hand vertical guide is a little bit trickier because we do have this stem as part of our design, so we're going to want to make sure we don't cut this off. So rather than moving it too close to the corner, we're going to click and drag this guide and actually position it right where the stem begins. This way the stem itself and the corner will not be resized since they end up in that lower left-hand corner. So once again, what we've done here is cut up the artwork or sectioned it off inside of this movie clip. The portion of the artwork that ends up in the 4 corner slices, as we see here, will not be scaled, regardless of the horizontal or vertical scaling of this movie clip or any instance of it. The artwork that ends up in the left and right slices will only scale vertically. The artwork that ends up in the top and bottom slices will only scale horizontally. Everything in the middle is fair game. Now that we've sectioned this off, we're going to see a dramatic difference in how this appears and behaves when we scale it for different purposes on the stage. Let's return back to the main timeline by clicking the Scene 1 link in the upper left-hand corner above the stage. So we'll see already a major difference. The stem and the corners match the one of the instance directly to the left, even though they're 2 completely different sizes. Let's go ahead and take our bags label and position it inside of this balloon. So that'll be our first button. Let's scroll a bit over to the left and let's take this accessories label and move that directly up and position that within this button. Let's take the laptops label and drag that above the leftmost button. And again, we'll see we have plenty of room to spare. Now that we've set up 9 slice scaling, we can actually scale the word balloon underneath without worries that it's going to degrade or the stem is going to be misproportionate. Let's go ahead and select this word balloon. Select the free transform tool from the tools panel on the right, and we're just going to drag this in a little bit like that. Switch back to your selection tool at the top of the tools panel and just reposition this so it's flush left with the guide that we see here. If necessary, you can recenter the label as well. So you see here we're using the same button, the same interface element 3 times at 3 completely different sizes. Regardless of the width of each one, the corners are perfectly preserved, they're all sharing the same uniform corner radius, and that stem, which is part of our decoration, actually doesn't scale either. This establishes a nice consistency across all 3 buttons, and it gives us the flexibility to create as many as we need to accommodate any length of text that we need as well. Let's go up to View. Under View, choose Magnification and choose Fit in Windows so we can see the bigger picture. Now the final touch we're going to put in is just some basic alignment. We can accomplish precise alignment using the handy Align panel. Let's go up to the Window menu, and from Window, go ahead and select Align. Position the Align panel so we can see all 3 buttons and all 3 labels. And first, let's go ahead and just make sure that the text is lined up. While holding your Shift key, go ahead and select all 3 labels: laptops, accessories, and bags. At the top of the Align panel, to make sure we align these all by the bottom edge, go ahead and click the last button in the top row, which is Align Bottom Edge. Let's go ahead and do the same for the buttons themselves. Go go ahead and click on the first word balloon button. Hold down your Shift key and then click and select the remaining two. And once again, click the exact same button we used to align our text, which is Align Bottom Edge. Go ahead and close or collapse the Align panel. So as we see here, 9-slice scaling can be an essential feature for creating flexible designs and layouts. When using movie clip symbols, we can enable this feature so that we can make elements scalable to accommodate different amounts of content, text, pictures, whatever it happens to be. And again, this is especially useful when we're trying to design reusable buttons, navigation elements, and so on.